wears many hats. He is somebody you can safely call a handyman. He believes he is not mature and that it's all height. That it's all height. Can you imagine? But what he doesn't know is that we are all kids just walking around in wrinkles and years of experience. This young man enjoys what he does, and that's tweaking, fixing, making people look good, sound good, or simply finding solution to issues. If this guy is not sitting around a computer, walking with his knapsack or laptop, just to know that he's walking to fix something to make somebody look good and sound good. He's a humble person, easy to talk to, jovial, and tends to crack lame jokes. He considers himself an information and communication technology professional. He's somebody you want on your team. This young man is diligent. He pays attention to details and is never comfortable until all the T's are crossed. And I quote, "Why am I still down here sitting and tweaking instead of looking for more content?" Mind you, end quote. I had to drop that in there because he was doctoring his presentation, which he's going to share with us tonight. And I could go on and on and on, but I want to give him much time to speak and to share, that we can maybe request a part 2 from him. Our presenter tonight is no stranger to us and is no other than our very own brother, Andre Ffrench.
Yep, okay, let's go. So, dangers of technology, social media, online safety, and security. I'll be honest, I'm not sure how much of social media I have. I think I have more online safety. But we'll go through any questions you have, we'll try to touch on it and see where we end up before it's too late. All right, so we want to look at these 3 concepts here. The myths of what we have about security and online and social media, and also some parenting tips. Disclaimer. Now, tonight we may dwell on a lot of the negative things just to drive home the fact that we need to take measures to secure ourselves. That doesn't necessarily mean that online is all bad. Okay, so as the world is increasingly interconnected, everyone shares the responsibility of securing cyberspace, as said by Newton Lee. And as Shanna hinted in her icebreaker about passwords, I had to share this quote. Passwords are like underwear. Don't let people see it, change it very often, and you shouldn't share it with strangers. Chris Pillow. Now, some of the 3 common myths, because I wanted this to be as short as possible, more so to facilitate your questions. We have myth number 1 in my book. My business is too small. In terms of, I'm a small person, I don't have a lot of resources. Me, the poor man, they're not going to hack me. I'm not going to be a victim of cyber attack. And that is not true. Hackers are not primarily focused on the size of an organization or the size of an individual, but how your weakness can be used. In better example, you may be a member of a website. For example, say Johnsontown had a website, and we asked you to sign up on our website, but because we didn't take the necessary measures to secure our website, you may have left your address there, you may have left your phone number, probably we're doing the tithing online, you put on your banking information online, all of that is now on us. Now, because the hackers are now able to find a vulnerability in this area, they're able to exploit Johnsontown, collect all your personal data, and then now go ahead and probably make online purchases or sell it to someone else who's interested in using your data for whatever malicious means. So it is also important that we don't think that because we're so small, we should not be taking keen or paying a key attention on what our security has to do. Myth number 2, my IT department or my internet service provider, be it Flow, Digicel, or yeah, I think those are the only 2 we have right now. Yes, your internet provider may cover some level of it, and that is normally not generally done. So the internet provider is only responsible to give you access to the internet. Unless you ask them for additional services such as network protection, it's not their responsibility to protect you in the event of a breach. It's on your responsibility to either ask for that additional layer of security or to engage the necessary consultants or security specialists to be protected. It is also, yes, in some cases, your IT department's responsibility for your company. We'd have employed to say yes, ensure that your computers are up to date, that your security infrastructure is intact. However, at the end of the day, based on how our landscape for security is changing, it is also on you, the vendor, the customer, the end user, to also be aware of what is changing in the landscape, what are the risks out there, and how you can protect yourself and also help protect your company against these different attacks. 3, I am not tech savvy enough. All right, yeah, sorry, miss number 3, I'm not tech savvy enough. You don't need to be enough. You don't need to be a guru to be able to use the various social media platforms, as I'm sure everybody here is on WhatsApp, including, or on Zoom. You don't need to be tech savvy enough to do business online and do it safely. And to protect your data and your children's and protect your children's online safety. And lastly, it is never too late to begin. So yes, you may say, okay, I have missed it I've never done it from when they're growing up. Yes, you may have probably been a victim of a breach. That does not mean you cannot start protecting yourself this very night. Point number 2, or section number 2. So our online presence. My online presence and how to protect it. So we're going to start with the social media. So for me, the 3 common social medias are WhatsApp, Instagram, YouTube. I'm sure I'll hear more like the Facebook, the TikTok, the Snapchat. Wow, I'm sounding old. The Pinterest, the thousands of them. Now, all of these are platforms which we use to interact with others, be it friends, be it family, be it random strangers. Now, I just want to share this. It's rather small here. However, I'm hoping they've seen it clearly on Zoom. The internet minute. So there's this thing where they say what happens in a single minute across the internet as you go out through the year. So in 1 minute, this is what would happen. So let me just share a few of them with you. In 1 minute, you'll find that 1.3 million people log into Facebook. In 1 minute, there are 4.1 million search queries executed. In 1 minute, there are 400,000 apps downloaded, approximately 694,000 scrolling Instagram, person scrolling on Instagram, 194,000 persons sending a tweet, and the list goes on. I think there was one more. The Amazon one, or the online shopping. In 1 minute, there's approximately $1.1 million spent online, US. Now, with that, and based on the trend between 2019 and 2020, it's been on a steady increase. So coming back from even 2018, most of these numbers were more in the 500,000, 500,000 range, especially like for the Facebook or the lower thousands, tens of thousands. It's much, much more now. And it continues to increase as we get more digitally enabled and more digitally aware. Now, on the other side of that, in the security internet minute, I was only able to find the 2081 easily. So I'll share this one. In 1 minute, there's approximately $600 billion lost through malicious acts. over, I think it's over the year, is $600 billion, approximately 1.1 million in a minute. The other one, approximately $8 billion in a year lost because of ransomware, which is a malicious or antivirus in a sense, for simpler terms. Right. Antivirus, which encrypts your files and persons have to pay to retrieve this data, in which in most cases you may or may not retrieve the data. So what is a ransomware? And what is encrypt and decrypt? Fine. Hold on. That's okay. So ransomware, as I say, it's a form of malicious or virus or a malicious application that you may inadvertently download and execute on your machine or your phone, be it laptop or phone, which what it does is copy all the data, send it somewhere to store, more than likely in a cloud server. Then what they do is they encrypt all your files on it, which means they password protect your files in another word. Now you would not have that password because they have the password. Now what they're going to do is display a message or send you an email and say, I got your passwords, I got all your files, and I have the password to unlock it. Unlock it. If you wish, pay me X amount of money using this method to retrieve it. Now, these are persons you don't know, and you're hoping that if you pay, you're able to get it back. So, since I'm on this point, normally what most companies do, and that's why you find that Microsoft and the different cloud companies are so in pushing cloud storage, back up your data. If you have a backup, you're able to restore your backup without having to pay and hope that the person who stole your data is honest enough, right, to return these files. Because you may pay that 1,000 US, that 2,000 US, etc., and they just bye-bye, disappear with it. Now, with your data backed up in a safe location, be it online, probably you have your external hard drive and you back it up to your external hard drive, you can then restore that data after, of course, sanitizing your machine, not with sanitizer, but with the necessary antivirus and malware removal tools to have your machine clean and ready to accept your new files or your restored files to resume your operation. Now, one of the main ways persons are able to attack us with attack us with viruses, trojans, ransomware, is through unupdated or vulnerable machines or devices. One of the ways your machine becomes vulnerable is when you do not update it. So oftentimes our vendor sends us updates, specifically Microsoft, as majority of us dislike the Microsoft updates because they take hours to get executed. We'll keep on delaying for a later date. However, when was the last time you updated your devices, your phones, your tablets, your laptops? Because even as simple as it seems, this little device can cause a lot of damage in the hands of a trained individual. So I advise for those with iPhones, Play Store, check your updates. For those with the Google phones, Android phones, head into your Google Play Store, check for updates, update your devices. Spend a few minutes one day, pull up your laptop, probably on a Sunday when you're not ready to use it, and just start the updates. Allow it to update, sit down for the entire day if needs be, and allow it to run those updates. Set it as a periodic event so that so it doesn't really inconvenience you. And Microsoft also has made ways where you can also set, what's called that now? Inactive hours or active hours where the machine won't force update during those active hours. So probably you set your regular work schedule or your school schedule, and outside of that, it will pull down the downloads and updates automatically, and then do that restart once it knows it's outside of that hours, once you've confirmed it. Know the passwords. How can I keep a password strong? I heard someone say keep a document with long passwords. Anyone else? Oh, wait, I'll give you the answer. I gave her the answer. Oh my gosh. I was saying, how can I keep strong passwords? Anyone online, you can send it in the chat if you want to. So use a mixture of numbers, letters, characters. And upper and lowercase, correct. No one else? All right, so we'll go with that one. So use a mixture of upper lowercase and special characters. However, when we start to get into this realm of uppercase and lowercase, let me give you, well, no, I'll use my example on the screen. Do not use dictionary words as correct Fiona. So you can't use anything that is easy to guess, any words that can form what we consider a dictionary attack, which means I can find a set of words and randomly try them to get the correct password. Avoid using your name. I will say an unnamed institution, which I recently was at. The individual tried to use their name as their password. Your name is not a password. Your last name is not a password. Your family member's name is not a password. There is supposed to be no names in your password. It is not secure. It may get accepted, but it is not secure. Password 123, testing 123, guilty. And the likes are not a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is not a password. Yes, and password is not a password. Yes. And it should be by standard, I think it's above 8 characters, that's correct, Uncle Mark. Now, as I was saying, when we start to increase the strength of our password, making it more randomized, so something that we can't easily suspect, oh, and not your address either, nor date of birth, what happens now is that it becomes much more harder to remember, right, Auntie Shana, as you said? So Auntie Shana alluded to in her icebreaker that when we store these long passwords or we start to randomize our passwords and change them on a frequent basis, it gets much, much harder to remember, especially if you have multiple platforms. Now, one such way to do this is to, sure, I see a question. So yes, linking your Google account to platforms. So what vendors have started to do to help to ease your burden? Her question was, what is it? I'm going to rephrase. Is it safe to link your account to Google? So for example, you're signing into, let me see now. Another social media platform, probably Instagram. And Instagram says you can link your Facebook or you can link your Google account, or LinkedIn says sign in with Google. Is it safe? Well, what most vendors have started to do is incorporate with the various vendors to make it easier for users to have less to remember in the sense of passwords. So they've formed what is considered a single sign-on, which means one account gives you ability to sign on to multiple platforms and multiple devices. Now, yes, it is safe once you take the additional measures to secure that main account. Because what you have done now is said that my Google account has access to all these accounts. Now, Google necessarily is not going to go and hack your other accounts. However, if someone gains access to your Google account, they gain access to all your other accounts that is linked with it. Let's go again. So what the vendors have done is they've formed so much an alliance or to whatever negotiations they form what is considered single sign-on. So where you get the opportunity to use Google to sign into probably, let me use some easier ones. LinkedIn, probably Twitter, Snapchat, and all those other social media platforms or other third-party websites, probably your banking website. I don't think any of them do now for local. Yes, it is safe. However, you still need to take the necessary measures to secure that main account, as that main account now has access to more of your life, in a sense. So, in a sense, if they were to breach your Google account, they gain access to know your Twitter account, your Facebook account, etc., 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 whatever else you'd have linked it to. So, you'd have to put the necessary measures now in place to ensure that your Google account is extremely secure. I'm going to get to that. No, this is Shana's question about the single sign-on, where it says you can use Google to sign in. But you can still use those to back up your website, and you still take that additional measure to ensure that your files are backed up safely and is stored safely. Not hearing the question. Yes, so you can use multiple sites to back up your files. You have, it's really cloud storage, so anywhere you can find trustworthy cloud storage. Two that I would definitely recommend, well, three, is Microsoft, uh, Google, and Amazon. Those are the three leaders in the market right now where that is concerned. Now, as I have on the screen here, one way of keeping your password safe and strong is using a password vault. As for sure, I don't think any one of us would be easy remembering this password on the screen. No, not one bit. Zero, is that a zero? Oh, I'm not even sure to start off, right? So want it over 12 characters or more, ideally for stronger passwords. As if I were to make this an 8 character, 8 is the minimum limit. So you don't want the minimum. So normally, ideally, it's 12, a mixture of uppercase, lowercase, numbers, and symbols in randomized format, not matching anything. Another question.
The question. On
You turned off the mic. One sec.
mic check. So are you suggesting that we keep a document of the
Getting there.
passwords? Because we won't
You're
remember
preempting
this,
me. You're
obviously.
preempting me. I'm getting there. All right. So as I said, using a password vault. So what a password vault is pretty much one of these guys on the screen here: Dashlane, LastPass, iCloud, or one password. These pretty much are encrypted measures to store your passwords in a cloud storage. Now, a lot of us are aware of cloud storage. You can also look at KeePass, and there are others you can research online. You can just pull up Google, free password vaults, or password vaults, take out the free, because whatever is free, as Shana said, beware of what you're trading. So search for a password vault. Some of them come with free options where it limits the amount of what you're able to store or how much content you're able to store. Others are paid, which gives you more feature sets. Now with the password vault, what it does is pretty much the password vault you get, you only have to remember one password, and that is the password for your vault. So you set that as strong as possible so that you can remember it. Now testing -1, 2, 3, please. So as strong as possible so that you can remember it, and then you can generate these randomized passwords for your other accounts under it. And you can easily pull it up and retrieve these passwords, your PIN codes, etc. Another step to enable, because password is only the first line of security, is that it is strongly recommended, where possible, enable multi-factor authentication. So what multi-factor authentication is, when you go to your Google to log in. So I'm logging to my Gmail. What you can do once multi-factor is enabled, as you see here, the user enters his username on his computers, but he gets a prompt on his mobile device to say, is this truly you trying to authenticate? Confirm it if your phone has it, Face ID, fingerprint scan, or confirm by entering the tokenized code, or the 6-digit or 4-digit code they would have sent you in a text message or in the application, or for some of them probably just by clicking the yes button that pops up on the phone. It's pretty much just another measure of saying, yes, this is truly Daniel Brown logging in. This is Andre Ffrench actually logging in. And with that done, you're able to say, okay, I'm a tad bit more safe, as if someone were to steal my device, my laptop, or gain access to my email, or know what my email account and password is, and they punch in those details, they won't be able to get that tokenized codes without the devices that are authorized with the necessary tokens or multi-factor authentication enabled. And now I mentioned that we'd use places like, what's it called again? Those password vaults, so LastPass, KeyPass, OnePassword, Dashlane. Now, yes, entrusting these persons to store your password safely. However, the next step is now for you to also keep abreast to ensure that they are doing their job of storing your password safely. So probably periodically checking in to ensure that your credentials have not been, or your credentials have not been a part of a victim breach. So this website that I have on the screen, haveibeenpawned.com. Let me just type it in the chat. 1 second. Want to make sure I get the URL correct. Okay, I did. I am sending. No, so you should see that URL in the chat. You can save that for reference. So what this does, let me see, I'm going to stop sharing for a second to reshare and see if I can give you guys an example of what Have I Been Pawned does. So stop share. Right. So pretty much what Have I Been Pawned is a website that checks your, pretty much you'd enter your email or your phone number and it queries it against their database of known breaches. And if that credential has shown, if your email or credential has shown up anywhere. So I'll give you a quick example.
This website is free to use?
Yes, this website is free to use. Yes.
Okay.
I can't type. Pretty much as simple as that. You enter your email address, it goes through, runs a quick check, and it returns, okay, cool. No pawnage or no results of your email have been found. However, if you were to run it again to another email that I found interesting, it said, oh no, one breach found, or any X amount of breaches found. And you can go through and look. So now this one is saying Canva in 2019 had a breach, which would mean that they were susceptible to a breach. Your credentials is a part of a Canva account. So you should probably consider terminating your account or updating your credentials for these. So if you were using similar credentials across this Canva account, across something else, you immediately want to go ahead and update those passwords, change whatever restriction, probably if you hadn't enabled it already, enable a multi-factor authentication, and then you can go along your merry way. I see something like a pending question. Okay. Okay, back to the slides. Okay. Now, another major way of breaches and attacks is through phishing and malicious emails. And one of the main campaigns is that you should think and double check before you click. Now, it's not only susceptible to emails, as we've in recent times see it happening on WhatsApp, in social media DMs, and in many other formats. But the whole concept still remains the same. What these persons are trying to do, what a phishing attack is pretty much, they're trying to gain information about you. Similar to the spear phishing or phishing exercise, I go, I throw a rod, I throw a line, and I try to see which I can catch a fish. Pretty much what it means. So I'm trying to see how much data I can gather from you, the vulnerable end user. So in this case, we see here, this person is advertising that you could win a Spencer gift once you click the link and you enter your data. Or the more familiar one, which a lot of us here are victims of, is the Women's Day KFC, right? Get a family bucket of KFC for Women's Day, man. You know we love that KFC. That 12-piece bucket, or is 9-piece? No. Some of the key giveaways that I'll point out in this that you should always look out for. Your legitimate websites should not be sending non-legitimate links. So if you look at the second one with the KFC, you notice it's saying a bit.ly. Now, why KFC be using a shortened link? If it's on their website, they could easily say kfcjamaica.com/something else. And then if you take a look to the one on the left, the win a euro, 250. No, that A is not the correct character. And oftentimes, I'm not sure if it is their signature or what, but most of the times that the recap, the link for the KFC. Okay, let's go again. I come into that question. Let me go ahead question first. And if you have more questions, remember to post them in the chat. Post them in everyone's chat, please. I am using another device. So yes, please, thank you. The links. So what I was saying about the links, all right, could you give me to the next slide to show the links more? All right. So what I'm saying is that the links, beware the links. I'll give a better example of the links shortly. But your vendors should be, or your, for example, KFC. If KFC sending out something, KFC should be sending it from kfcjamaica.com. That's one step. However, it doesn't end there. Another identifying mark was the A with the seemingly tilde above it. Now, probably because most of the hacks and so or breaches are done from international level, you find that the mixture of characters tend to happen. So those, or they use these characters to throw off where the registrar, the different AV scans and so on will pick these up. So you can look out for those as well as identifying marks to say, hey, why would an English speaking company make a mistake of such caliber? So some other examples, let me use the email ones as better examples now. So if you look here, this one, the one on the left says Microsoft 365 team is asking this person to check their spam account or their mailbox will be shut down. Now, for a lot of us, especially for our business and is in this type of email and our core business email, we're going to quickly go and click the verify into the details and too bad. Now, so one of the main things that we need to do at this point is to ensure that when we get links in our emails, we verify one, the sender, two, the links, and worst case scenario, ask the IT department. If in doubt, oh, and four, if in doubt, call the actual person and find out why or if they actually did send it. Now, this one, if you notice the email, I'm hoping you guys are seeing clearly. The email is not a Microsoft email. So if you notice at the ending of the act, it is a lausd.net. Now, why would Microsoft be sending something not from a office.com or something related to Microsoft.com's base domain? Now, these are things you can be aware of. So if you have another vendor out there, probably KFC then sends an email out to you, or Pizza Hut, or Johnsontown sends an email to you. Why is Johnsontown sending from Kingston 123 or Kingston 123.com versus from JohnsontownSDA.com? Or why is Mike or UTech sending me from a Gmail address? Even if it's coming from, yes, a Gmail address, a trusted source, an Outlook address, if this is not what your vendor usually communicates with you on a regular basis, take a second, verify the legitimacy of this email. Probably call the person who sent it, probably call the department or the institution and say, we received an email from you saying XYZ. Should I be concerned? Should I be actually submitting something to you guys? And it helps you to not have to go ahead and submit data. Also, if you were to notice on the right side, it says, if you hover over a link, it can tell you where the true identity of the URL is. So if Microsoft sent you an email again, Microsoft email should natively be directing you to a Microsoft-based website, which means in the domain name, it should be saying something like Microsoft.com, Outlook.com, one of those regular names. If you're going to a regular website like Instagram, and Instagram asks you to reset your password, it should not be taking you to, again, Kingston123 or anywhere else. It should be taking you to Instagram.com. Now, also, a lot of these vendors have taken an approach to say, we will never ever send you an email with a link to click to say reset. So that should also in itself be a red flag. Majority, if not all these vendors have stopped doing that because of the nature of the phishing attacks, which are on an increase. So if you get a prompt to say reset your password, most time they will send you your password expires in 3 days, ensure you reset it. And it will end there. They'll not give you a link, they'll not tell you anything else. The onus is on you now to go to the actual legitimate website and proceed to sign in and make the necessary effort to change that your credentials. And for example, if you notice this website looks like Microsoft, right? So this is like a regular place where you go to sign into your email and don't forget your question. But if you look in the top browser there, the URL, well, right, I'm on Zoom as well. In the browser, the URL section, you notice it's saying HTTPS moderndandy.com. Now, why is Modern Dandy authenticating for Office? What a lot of hackers do is that they will reach a website here or there, use that website back to host these phishing or fake web pages, which is the whole idea of phishing. So I'm going to give you something that looks legitimate, but it isn't legitimate. So again, it is on you, the person, to ensure that I do not enter my credentials here. But say I already missed and I already entered my credential on these websites, immediately change whatever credentials you would have entered in these websites. So if it was an Outlook website, you change your Outlook password. If this password is linked to multiple accounts, which it should not be, change those account credentials as well. I will go with your question first. But the mic, please. I can't hear from Safari.
Persons on Zoom would like to hear you, please.
So Andre, you were saying you can use the question that China was asking before to connect the rest of your account. They say you can use the Microsoft account, right? How would you do that? Because I do have a Microsoft account.
Come again. I'm not sure if I get the question. If you can use your Microsoft account.
You were explaining so you can use phone, something about cloud or something. So it's saying they can use Microsoft to if they want to reach their Gmail, they can use Microsoft to connect the rest of your accounts.
All right. So if you experiment it closer to the end, I'll just watch you a demo of what you can do.
Right. I don't.
If you can experiment closer to the end of the presentation, I'll show you exactly how you can have it done. So I'll do a quick demo of that.
So, friends, next question. If you want to change your Gmail, right, as in the not the password,
The
just
email
the
address.
email, would it affect your information as in
So
you?
when I'm saying change your credential, I'm not saying change your email address. I'm saying change your password. That's your secret.
No, man, I'm just asking a question.
If you can, well, I don't think you're able to change your email. You're only able to create a new account, which a lot of the vendors, especially Microsoft, because a lot of the dormant accounts and they have to store these at free, though they steal your information. What they've started to do is try to restrict that. So most time now, if you sign up for an account, it prompts you for a phone number. And when you enter that phone number, if it's already tied, it's going to ask you to remove it from that whatever other account, which now leaves that account more vulnerable in a sense. So they're trying to this the multiple accounts per person. However, it can still be done, but just be aware. That's it for questions. No more questions online. Moving right along. All right, so the funner part. Now, I see mostly parents. I think they're mostly parents online or adults online. If not, these are some tips I think we could share. I had polled a few persons and asked what they were doing in terms of online safety for their children, and I will share one of the more prominent results that I found more secure, and I'll share also what others have been doing. I see another question before I go along. I'll just go along. Good? Can go along? Okay, cool. All right, so social media security for parenting tips for social media security tips for parenting. One, you should teach your child to be kind. Say nice things when say nice things because you never know who will read what you say. Be safe. Know who you are friending and talking to. The whole rule of don't talk to strangers. Be secure. Don't share personal information with strangers again. You don't need to tell anyone online that, oh, I live XYZ place. Oh, I am going to that place to the library in Kingston to do this for X amount of time. It is not necessary. The more touchy one here, as I found, was be legal. Don't download music or images that you didn't pay for. And I'll stretch it and say softwares like Microsoft Office, Microsoft Windows, and the list goes on. Ensure you're paying for these softwares. Now, as I alluded to earlier, when I said updates, updates, updates. Now, what happens is that companies pay individuals, probably like myself or not quite myself, but to build softwares. And when we build these softwares, we continuously try to keep these secure at best possible. But it takes time to keep doing recurring updates. So with that done, what is going to happen is that you have to keep paying for this subscription. You pay the actual fee for this. Now, when you're ripping off these people, what tends to happen is that you lose the ability to update these applications, and as such, you now become vulnerable to whatever version is out there. As well as when you're downloading your music or images or videos from the free websites or trial websites, as I like to call them, you run the risk of infecting your machine with malicious content. So it is strongly advised that you be legal, encourage your child or your ward to be legal. They want the music, they can't limit themselves to YouTube listening only, not to download it. So you pay for the music or you pay for the application and try not to download the illicit or the illegal copies of these items. Be protected, of course, as we said earlier at length. Don't share your passwords or PIN codes for your banking information, etc., with anyone. Be alert. Tell an adult when a friend or is in trouble online, or if you see someone in trouble online, be prompt with your parents or with your ward. Encourage your child to tell you or tell someone. Be smart. Use positive words to build your online brand. And this doesn't go only for businesses. As you know, most in this day and age, your online profiles or social media profiles can be used against you for, or can be used as your what's that, your CV, and can be used to say, okay, this is the type of person I'm employing in my company. Is this person someone fit for my company? Okay, this person is posting this. This person is that type of person. Be smart about what you post, how you post, and the type of contents you share online. Be responsible. Don't access sites and apps you should not access. So share that with your children at length. At the end of the day, you can put in all the measures to secure them, but it's now you want to build that integrity in your child or word so that they are not going on these websites, even probably finding ways to circumvent all the measures you have taken to put in place. Be conscientious, be truthful. Encourage your child not to lie about things. Encourage them to be truthful about everything they do and not to follow gossip. Lastly, be modest. Don't take or share inappropriate pictures on the internet. If it hits the internet, it stays on the internet. And that is it. There's no getting it off just so. If it wants to be retrieved, it can be retrieved once it hits the internet. You can send a tweet and delete it, and there's always a way to retrieve that tweet. As what happens is your tweet is posted on a server, and that server stores that tweet and stores that tweet across multiple nodes. Now, it takes a time for that to be removed entirely from all the nodes, but even so, there's always traces of what you would have sent online. Because also, these are companies who are backing up and backing up those data to ensure that they maintain what is considered the highest level of availability. So probably it is removed online, but in one of their backups, if they wish to restore that, they can find that data on you. As well as other deeper ways of finding it. Yeah. So tools you can use. So as I said, I walked around and polled a couple of parents to see what they were doing. Some persons were saying during the whole pandemic and having the child at home, what they would do is in it's online time for the child, they would normally have them sitting in a central area where they can easily walk by, take a glimpse at what is on the screen, where they can also audibly hear what is going on. That is good. At least they put that measure in place. Another thing some parents would have done is to probably do a actual limitation where they say, okay, you have an hour of screen time, here's the tablet, here's the phone, and they give them that hour, and after the hour, they retrieve the device from them. Lastly, the one that I found the nicest, I would say, was that one parent told me about the Microsoft Family Safety. This is not a Microsoft ad. I'm in no way affiliated to Microsoft. well, probably, but in no way affiliated to Microsoft, and you don't need to buy any of the Microsoft products. Not because I'm using this example. However, this app was also free, which is why I'd also strongly encourage you to look into it and see if it is feasible in your application. And this app is the Microsoft Family Safety. So well, let me show the video before I talk. 1 second. And audio and play. All right. So I'm not sure if it was, I think it's a tad bit fast. So let me try to review some of the features that it has. So it pretty much allows you to, it's an application that is installed on mobile devices, can be controlled through your web browser, but primarily for mobile devices, be it your phone, your tablet. So what it allows you to do is regulate now your child's screen time to start. So I can install this app and say, okay, my child is able, well, let's start with the restriction. You're able to set up age-based restrictions. So if your child is under 13, you can then set it up to say only or under 14, as it shows on the screen. Only content under the age of 14 it should be displayed on this phone. So if they're going to in the web browser and start to search for content, you would do an age restriction on it. You're able to set up additional web filtering on it to say I want to restrict them from whatever websites I deem that I don't think my child should be on. Be it Disney, be it YouTube, for example, or whatever other, probably some social media website, you say, okay, you have probably you say to the child, they have access to Facebook, but probably not to Instagram. You can then do that web filtering on the phone and say, okay, their mobile device will never be able to log into those websites that you've restricted. As well as, again, not be able to see content over the age limit that you have also restricted. Something what they call safe search. What you'd have also done is that you'd have adopted this child into what they consider your family. So probably it's you, your husband and your wife, both on the account as administrators, and you adopt your single child or your multiple children, and you say, okay, Vanessa is able to gain access to these two games, but not for the entire day. Vanessa gains access to these two games for 1 hour for the day. If Vanessa probably, and you can also set the time in which that 1 hour falls, be it after school hours or before school hours. If she wishes, if she can prove, no, you can also do, I think what my friend was, my colleague was telling me, you can have them say, okay, if they finish their homework within X time frame, they can submit the homework and you can set up almost a reward system where they get an additional probably 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever time frame you deem, of additional probably game time, surf time on the internet, etc. You can, with that restriction in place, you're also able to limit whatever application your child is able to download and run on the phone, which is, I know, a problem for a lot of us. Because we give the child the phone and we get back the phone, games, 101 games and zero storage space remaining. So you're not able to restrict what application the child is able to run on the phone, what application the child is able to install on the phone. The additional feature, as I say, it also gives the screen time monitoring, so you can also monitor the screen behavior or the internet behavior over the past period of time. I'm not 100% sure, but I was told that it has the ability to also monitor their activity in terms of whatever social media platforms. So probably they leave a comment here and there. But another way, one parent said is that You are the parent, or as a friend said, the same concept of that child who's under your roof, it is your door. You provided them the mobile device, you provide them the internet access, you regulate that email account. So you keep all passwords to all their social media accounts, and you can then go ahead and check and say, okay, XYZ, he or she's posting XYZ online. Probably I need to talk to he or she about this or not about this. Of course, as I said earlier, you also want to build that and be teaching them about whatever online etiquettes they need to be following. The one that I also love the most, and I think that as a nation and so we should probably look at was the ability for the app to do location tracking. So I can now set up and say, okay, Vanessa leaves for school at 6 to 6:45 in the mornings. I can set it up so it gives me alert of all of, and I plot the location of where Vanessa takes to go to school, and it pretty much gives me an alert if Vanessa violates this location at any point in the day. So I can set a geofence, which is pretty much a limited range of where Vanessa is able to go. Once Vanessa goes out of this location, I get a notification to say Vanessa is no longer within her limited or restricted area of location. I'm able to monitor Vanessa's location without her needing to go into WhatsApp, as a lot of us know, and do a shared location. So you can easily see, yes, Vanessa has left home, yes, Vanessa has arrived at school safely. Yes, Vanessa is on her way from school, yes, Vanessa is back at home. So for that parent who probably in a more distant based situation or one who works probably more odd hours compared to what the child works, you're still able to monitor and know that, as the app says, provide you with that level of digital and physical safety. Yes. Yes. So you can limit the child to whatever apps you want. So you pretty much pull, say you have a brand new phone, or you have a phone that exists already, you can go through and it would probably, I think it natively starts to block all bases. So it blocks all the apps on the phones except, of course, the key apps, so like your Google or your Edge. I think this one, because it's a Microsoft app, they natively tell you they want you to use the Microsoft browser, which is fine, it still works. It's on, Lasanja do not post this video. It is a knockoff of Google's Google Chrome, so it still works. Uh, so, come again? This is actually a free application, fully free, which is why I found it very shocking.
Persons on Zoom need to hear. The persons online need to hear.
Oh, the
Yeah,
question.
I was just asking. The first one was we had a lot of students online on Zoom, and something they switch from Zoom instead of being in class to another app. So I can see how this would be useful. They say, oh, they're in class, but they're not in class. They're playing Candy Crush or something else. So you can
Yes.
limit the app
Yes.
movement.
So you can limit the app for the time frame. So for example, then you know that you can, I think you can set up different schedules for different application allowances. I
Okay.
can double check and let you
And
know.
the second question I was asked was about the cost of
And
it.
the cost is actually free, which is rather shocking. So you don't need a.
It's kind of scary.
It's
Just
tad
wanted
bit
to
scary.
find
So
this
I'm
out.
still looking into it, but from what I'm hearing, the person that I got the application information from say he has been using it over a year without having to pay a cent. And I've tried it and I've seen where it doesn't prompt you for any payment. So you know Microsoft has their native 365, which is their Office suite of products for the cloud. I think what they're trying to do is to drive persons to be more built in the brand, and thereby, once you said, okay, I've done all this through Microsoft Family Safety, why not why not purchase the family account for Microsoft 365 as well, which also gives me more control. So yeah, yeah. And then your friend up and say, "Come on, man," and yeah. I think that's exactly what they're trying to do with this. But it's a really, from what I've seen so far, it's a really robust app around pretty much all the feature sets that I think would cover a parenting online safety. Of course, there are also other apps that exist, so you can also look those up. I don't remember the name of them right now, but there are other apps that do pretty much similar, but they of course come at a cost. So at this present moment, the one that I found the best is the Microsoft Family Safety app, which is also, as I said, free. Location tracking, app restriction, web search restriction, web filtering, and it travels with your device. And the child cannot sign out of the account, not without a parent authorizing the sign out of the account. And if they do find a way and sign out of the account, you get a notification to say Vanessa signed out of the account. So then you can simply take up the phone or pop up by Vanessa and say, hello, Vanessa. Why did you sign out? You and I need to talk, right? To close, I believe, or in close to closing, security is a process, not a product. So pretty much, as you know, as we are on this process of making it home, when it's not a one solution fix all, it's not a one stop shop and it gets everything right. We continuously have to keep revising, we continuously keep ensuring that we're doing whatever it takes, we stay up to date to keep ourselves secure online. And some last tips, since I really wanted to touch on this more, but finance. What are some ways we protect ourselves who are in the finance sector of things? Do I get anything in the chat or in the audience?
We can use sites that we trust to make purchases. That's probably one.
Yes, you sites that you trust to make purchases,
Amazon,
like your Amazon.
utilizing Amazon Prime to save a credit card or so on.
No, well, Amazon Prime is just faster shipping and membership-based benefits, but Amazon in general.
Okay.
So I'm slightly paranoid when it comes to online payments and stuff. So it's only like I try not to put my banking information on like my phone. I really tried not to for a very long time. As well as I limit online stuff to a laptop as opposed to a device that I can easily lose, like a tablet or a phone or something like that. So that's what I tend to do. Yeah.
All right, I like the fact that you mentioned that because I actually got that question earlier today. Is it safe to bank with my mobile device?
Some banks have apps, and I believe that they facilitate security.
Yes, that is correct.
Yes.
So, majority, if not all your banks, have put in the necessary measures to secure you. Or if not, they are putting in those measures. So banking on your mobile device is not necessarily unsecure. It is where you use your mobile device that may become unsecure. So of course, the first one would be do not use public Wi-Fi's. That hotspot, that free Wi-Fi, avoid it. If you're going to do any form of banking, that is a no-go. You don't want to be logging into secure websites on those. As you don't know who put up this free website. They may be just posting a free website only there to capture your credentials. You don't know, as well as it may be a legitimate free Wi-Fi. It may be actually, let's say no, your school's Wi-Fi. You may think, okay, it's secure, but you may have that one eager person at the school who decides that he's going to find a backdoor into whatever network and see if he can capture some additional data and do whatever he so desires with that data. So you try to limit your secure banking to preferably home. I'd also go the extra mile to say I'd recommend everyone to put in the necessary security measures at home because just using your internet service provider alone may not be it, as I said earlier. Probably you want to ask them, what else can I do to help secure myself? Because their only role is to give you access to the internet. So one key thing that you can look at doing is like getting a firewall. Daniel, I think the camera went. Daniel, I think the camera went. I think the camera went. No, the camera. I think it went. Yeah. Lastly, I think where was I? So we're talking about the Wi-Fi. So yes. So with your mobile phones, most of the vendors that are putting things, as I said earlier, the multi-factor authentication. Now, this is one of the more leading or the better methods right now in terms of protecting one. Where, of course, you need multiple devices to authenticate you. You need multiple ways. It's not just a single password and that's it. You need a password and a token or a fingerprint or a face scan to get access. Now, most of these vendors would have already placed that in there. So if you're going to do a transfer out of your account, if you're going to pay something, well, backtrack on the pay. If you're going to do a transfer out of your account, which is normally the more unsecure area, they require you to enter a token, a PIN or so. Now, what they also will encourage you to do is for your cards to turn on that transaction notification. And I'm going to throw a stone. If your bank is not allowing you to get transaction notifications, you either want to go and ask them for that or consider switching. There are a lot of banks, it's very simple to do, so they need to step it up. Yeah. Send me an email? Oh. Yes. Oh, yes. So, yeah, transaction notification, pretty much it. It sends you an email or it sends you an SMS to say, Andre has done a transaction at X location for X amount. So you're always aware when a transaction is done. What this then allows you to do is to then go ahead and, well, yeah. So once you know that this transaction is legitimate, you leave it alone. If it's not your transaction, you're now aware that a transaction was done and I now need to take whatever steps. Be call my bank, call my financial institution and say, hey, I see a charge on my card. What do I do? Or if you're some of the other banks, I think, have the ability to go in and file a chargeback or a fraudulent charge type of thing, or even disable the card until you can verify how that charge was done. I left that off the Microsoft Family Safety app as well. So it also allows you to regulate if say your child uses probably an Xbox, which is a gaming console, you're allowed to set up, I think, the billing in there to say, okay, your child is allowed to purchase only, oh, okay, only $10 or $20 worth of, only $10 or $20 worth of charge from my card, or no credit or no money from the card at all. But you're able to set up the billing to say you can use this amount of money from the card and no amount of money from the card, all through the app. Back on finance. Now, we also want to ensure that we don't set our pins or pins for our cards, debit cards, credit cards, to be something simple or easy to guess. We also want to secure that as best as possible. Now, I understand the concept that we call that now. We're now we're now in the mask area. I would strongly advise when you enter a bank or enter ATM to withdraw money, put on the mask, just for a couple of seconds, look at the face of the machine, the front of the machine, or any of the cameras, and continue to do the transaction. What this helps you to do is that what the institution tend to do is that when you go back and say, oh, I lost X amount of money because my card probably was skimmed or cloned, they are not able to say, but I didn't see this transaction done at X place. The person had a mask. But you said, no, 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 no. If it was me, I would have removed my mask. And you'd have gotten a true identity to say, yeah, man, he actually did a transaction, he didn't actually do a transaction. Of course, the person's fraudulently doing the transactions. We've seen a few bold persons, but they tend to cover up their face and things to try to disguise themselves so they can't be easily identified. But my personal tip is just pull it down for a couple of seconds, look at the camera, proceed to do a transaction. No, it's protect you. As in, and I think even some even stores have started to do as well is that once you enter the store, they pause there and stop you at the front and say, put on your mask, look at the camera, and then you proceed. Because I think a couple of stores started getting robbed because of that same fact, and then they had no way of knowing who was robbing the store. Uh, I am trying to remember. There was one more point I wanted to make. Right. Daniel mentioned it earlier with the banking online, and she mentioned Amazon Prime, but it's not actually Amazon Prime. So some of us, like myself, I like to shop on eBay because I find that I make much better deals on eBay. But what eBay is that eBay is a vendor, almost like a customer to customer or person to person type of transactional site, which means if I were to put my credit card on eBay, I'm going to transact directly with my credit card. Then you have tools or other applications, such as the most prominent one is PayPal, which allows you to store your PayPal account, but then the PayPal is what that person sees. They don't see your raw credit card information because if you were to present your raw credit card, which is just a credit card number and the number, the 3-digit number at the back of the card, they can do as much transactions as they want. So if they got that, then good, your credit limit done. Now, so you tend to use things like either your PayPal as an intermediary to help protect your credit card, or again, you do not share this information with anyone else. You try to keep your card on you at all times. You try to restrict your use of your card and so to trusted sources or trusted locations. If you don't know the website, don't put your card on the website. What I've seen other persons also do is once they finish a transaction and the transaction is successful, they remove the card from the website. So just in case that website becomes a victim of a breach, your card data would not be on the website. Again, as it points back to the have I been pawned website that we mentioned earlier, where you can check your email and your phone number. Say you bought something, as you saw, I use my account and it said Canva. No, say I'd bought something on Canva with my credit card. One thing I'd be contemplating at this point is that I now need to not only change my credentials, but also change my, see if my vendor will facilitate me making a card change. Most cases they won't charge you. Some cases they may charge you, but at what cost? Probably $500 to $1,000 to get a new card. Then 2 months down the road, you end up that you find out that you have a $20,000 bill that you didn't buy. So I think it's worth the risk. So some of those are some of the steps I think we can take to help secure ourselves online. Any questions while I set up for my last demo? In the chat or online? What's our question earlier? That I missed from earlier. Who is a vendor? When I'm saying vendor, by the way, I'm referring to the person who's selling your products, such as your Microsoft, who is a vendor, who is someone who's selling you something. Right? Right. Yeah. Where is that edge? Edge. Let me just bring up the browser. I'm pretty much finished. I'm just doing my last demo. Yes, I'm finished. I'm just
So
doing a
I
demo
was.
for Avo, who was asking about the cloud storage.
Oh, Ava wants to ask a question.
No, she had asked earlier about the cloud storage, and I told her once I got through everything.
Well,
So
while you do what you're doing, I can remember back in the presentation when you spoke of bank notification. It is very good, trust me, because I had a very good experience. I lent somebody my card and they said they may not use it. So I wasn't looking for them to use it until I got a notification that $10,000 came off my account. I was like, did you use my did you use my card or not? Thankfully they did, but I was able to say yes, money came off because even if they weren't honest, I'd get by the card thinking that they didn't take any money off it. So that notification from the bank was good for me and my peace of mind.
That is true. I'll give you a better one since I think I've shared this already. But personally, I have been a victim of a card scheme attempt. Up to now, I don't know how this card scheme happened. Because I think I take the additional checks of going in and look, all right, that looks good. Shake the ATM a bit here or there. Do not shake the ATMs violently, guys. Please. But I know where I'm trying to figure it out. So, yeah. I always take the necessary precautions to ensure that my card is used in a safe manner. No, I remember one evening a group of friends and I went out and I was it the morning? I think the morning had drawn money and I got back the amount and they said I had X amount of money on the card and I was like, all right, cool. So when I went out with them, we went to the place and I was like, all right, cool, pay. So lady swipes, no, yeah. I went to a store before that and my card just wouldn't work. I was like, all right then. I'm an NCB customer. I'm like, really NCB? Good Sunday and on the pop down? All right, cool. Went to the actual location that we're going and we're going go-karting. So we're there and when I'm ready to pay for my ride, I'm like, she swipe and it never worked. I'm like, huh? She swipe again, it never worked. I'm like totally confused at this point because I'm doubly sure I'm entering the pin correctly. I know I'm bad with numbers, but I'm sure I'm entering the pin correctly. So I paused and I was like, that don't make no sense. So at this point, I think NCB had just released their mobile banking app. So I was like, all right, let me see what my balance is because something that makes sense. So I pulled up the app and I looked at my account and I saw 50 cents remaining. I'm like, huh? My account was pretty much done. And it was a lot more than that. So I was like, so I looked at my friend, yo, I just get robbed. My account empty. Show him the account. Priya. We both had a good laugh at it. Fortunately, he was able to cover and we enjoyed the night. And then I turned up at NC the following morning. Again, why I say to you, why I take that measure of showing my face. Now, when I was looking back and going through the transaction history, Again, I also do one other thing I also do is I use only selected ATMs. So I maintain a pretty much an ATM pattern then. So if I'm drawing money, I only draw from a few selected ATMs. So when you were looking at all the transactions that we're doing, it was done in an ATM in Portmore. Andre don't know Portmore to save him life. So and I turned up on the morning, I'm like, I noticed that there's no money in my account. There's supposed to be money in my account, and I did not make those transactions. She's like, okay, and she walked me through the process of filing the thing, and they're prompt and they return the funds. So again, yes, you may see that money comes out of your account that you're not aware of. If you see money come out of your account, if you see money come into your account, please alert your institution. Because even though you may say, oh, I'm going to get money, if you don't know where it come from, and you cannot verify the source, please alert your institution. Because you might just turn up to fly out, or you turn up somewhere and police take you up and say, okay, you're a scammer. So that's another thing to be aware of. Yes, I'm going to show you. Oh, I don't reach there yet. I need to bring up the screen. So let's see. Instagram.com. And let us go to share. Edge. So, all right. So what? If you spare me 2 seconds, this is a bit out of whack. Menu, menu, turn down the brightness. Where's it? All right. We may do with that. All right, I just need to adjust the projector color. So if you notice on the here, it gives you the option to say log in with Facebook. I think another one would be like a twitter.com. Yes, as Uncle Mike said, the money coming into your account, you must be honest. So, yes, yes, I'm showing you now. I'm just running through all the stuff. Yeah, just running through all the stuff about. So if you notice here, it gives you the option to say the same single sign-on as Shannon would have made mention to. So if you go log in, it will, wait, no, sorry. I think it's sign up. Really? All right, I'll just work with the Instagram one. So Instagram shows you the option to log in with Facebook, which pretty much just brings up the Facebook login, and it pretty much links both your accounts.
There's a question on Zoom. I think it's
Yes,
Uncle
I'm not,
Carlos.
okay, I'm not seeing that question. Sure. Oh, raised hand?
Yeah.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Finally, good night.
Go ahead, Uncle Carlos.
Yeah, very interesting discussion and presentation. Now, there are a number of persons who will pose as vendors, but their real intention is scamming. So be careful who you join up with to do your online shopping, because some of them just want to get your information, clean you out, and then move on, and you cannot chase them. So when you're doing your online shopping, careful of those vendors who pose as vendor, but their real intention is scamming. Just to be aware of those.
That is very true. And I think it's more prevalent amongst what we consider the Instagram businesses. Where I think there's a point where a lot of them were saying, where you go again? Send us a transfer to they'll probably say that they're selling an iPhone 11, which probably on the market retails for $100,000. And they say, okay, we'll give you for $25,000. Where they getting the phone from? And then I say to you, send us the money and then we'll do the delivery. Really? Comes back also to the point of it's too good to be true. Question it. And yeah, so we also actually, as Uncle Carlos rightfully said, take the necessary due diligence in verifying our businesses or the businesses that we're doing, we're going to give our details to. So check them out. Find out if they're actually registered. They're probably not registered. Then find out if they have any other person you know have used them. If they have an Instagram profile, go ahead and check out their account. See if one of your friends use them. But normally, personally for me, I do business on a reference basis. So if I've never seen this company before, it's a reference basis. Or you try and start very small. Very something very simple that they should not be able to mess up. Yeah. Right, found the LinkedIn. So this would be an example of the single sign-on where you join with Google and yeah. No, the other one that I was mentioning was the what's the sign in. Wait, I could start that page. Was the OneDrive account. No, what OneDrive, as I said, is a personal storage account. You're pretty much just using it to store you can put whatever files you want. Be it your photos, be it your documents, be it a backup of your computer. But normally it's just folders and documents and pictures and videos and so you want to upload here. Now, what they do, they give you a limited amount of storage. Normally, say, I think, 15 gig worth of storage, both them and Google Drive. You're able to put any content up to 15 gig. If you want more than 15 gig, you pay for the storage. They have to store your data somewhere. They have to run the data in a cloud and multiple servers so you can get it at any time of the day you desire. So yes, you have to pay a fee if you want it over the allotted free amount. There's no way around it. There's no way around it. So either that or you build out your own cloud storage, which is going to cost you a lot more. A lot of the apps, I think OneDrive has it. I'm not sure if Google Drive does, but I think they have a inbuilt thing where they can do the automatic synchronization to it. Well, yes, Google Drive does have that. We can do the synchronization of files automatically to the cloud. And I think some of them have even the ability to do revision history, which is also a good thing when you're trying to protect against ransomware. Yeah. I would hope that would have answered all the questions. Are there any other questions? Do you recommend using a separate account for shopping online? Ah, it's a very conflicting question. No, yes, I would say yes. So it's not bad to have segmented accounts. So you could per se look at saying, okay, my online, which is my more vulnerable point, is on probably my Gmail accounts, but my personal banking, which is direct access to my funds and financial and my investment accounts, is on probably my Outlook email addresses. And that way you're able to somewhat alleviate the direct hit of a imminent threat. However, at the end of the day, I would still say you still need to practice multi-factor or enable multi-factor authentication, password rotation, and strong passwords. So not because you have it on a separate account means you don't want to say, oh, it's safe. I don't need to put a strong password. You still need to do so. Any additional questions? If there are no additional questions, I think I am pretty much done. Let's see if I missed any other slides. Yep, that's it. Thank you. And I'll do a quick wrap. Nope, yep, okay. Shanice coming.
All right, so let me get in the view. Is the view? Am I in the view?
Yes, we are.
I'm in the view. Right, so I just want to point out that Andre is one of the few persons that make me feel normal heighted. Right, so let me just point that out first. Right, so I know that tonight we were, boy, a lot of information. We're well informed. We know how to be more alert and aware of our passwords and being better stewards of what God has given to us, because that's the flip side of it. If we're careless, we're going to risk money and other resources. So I want to thank you, Andre. I loved it and I learned quite a bit. Right, and so
The task is not mine, right? I just want to pop this up here. I just want to highlight that it is a very small way of saying of saying thank you for tonight. We don't have a big budget, but we have enough love for you, and we're grateful you took it up on yourself to present to us, and you did it quite in fine style. So I want to thank you, Andre. This is yours, sir. All right. All right. At this time, we're just going to bow our heads for prayer. Dear Father, we want to thank you for this wonderful presentation. We are aware that you're in every aspect of our lives, and I want to thank you for using Andre. I ask, oh Father, that you continue to use him, you can continue to allow his gifts and his abilities and his skill set to be used in such a way where you can be glorified. I pray that all of us who are online will not just listen and be hearers of this word, but that we be doers also. Continue to bless us and keep us. Continue to allow us to be witnesses in home and the school, in our neighborhood, and wherever we find ourselves. We thank you again, oh Father, for a wonderful Sabbath and a wonderful night. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, so thank you everyone for coming on tonight. We know we had a very good discussion, both in-house and online, and we just want to welcome you out to the another session that we'll be having coming up soon. Just look out for that notification. So thank you again, and have a wonderful evening.
We heard gunshots. My sisters, I think they were probably sometime. I faced a mountain that I never faced before. That's why I'm calling on you, Lord. I know it's been a while, but Lord, please hear my prayer. I need you like I never have before. Sometimes it takes a mountain. Sometimes a troubled sea. Sometimes it takes a desert to get a hold of me. Your love is so much stronger than whatever troubles me. Sometimes it takes a mountain to trust you and believe. Forgive me, Jesus. I thought I could control whatever life throw my way. And this I will admit has brought me to my knees. I need you, Lord, and I'm not ashamed to say, oh, sometimes it takes a mountain, sometimes a troubled sea. Sometimes it takes a desert to get a hold of me. Your love is so much stronger than whatever troubles me. Sometimes it takes a mountain